Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending our Sea Scout webinar tonight, which is for best practices for recruiting new Sea Scouts. We have people logging in, so we will take a moment to let everyone log in. We had about 80-some people sign up for tonight's webinar, and appreciate you spending an evening with us talking about what I think is one of the most important topics in Sea Scouts, recruiting. There's about 3,000 Sea Scouts in the United States at this time, and we want that number to increase. With springtime being here, this is a prime time to plan open house activities, such as opening day on the bay or whatever is the beginning of your boating season in your community. And it's a great time to engage councils and work with others to bring new youth into our program. So with that, our speakers tonight include Hannah Carter, who is the National Bosun-elect, the current Western Region Bosun. Jordan Alexis, who is a Western Region Bosun mate and the Western Region Bosun-elect. Tom Tiffany, who is the skipper of ship 911 in Georgetown, Texas. And Donna Carter, who is a marketing professional. She is very skilled at doing community engagement, coming from a family of Scouters, and she's on the National Sea Scout Marketing Subcommittee and has been very helpful there, and she'll have a few things to say as well. I've noticed one person has raised their hand, and please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A feature of Zoom. This meeting is being currently recorded, so that it will be available after the recording on demand, and we'll post it on YouTube and Facebook as well. So lots of opportunities, and appreciate all of you tuning in. So seeing the numbers stabilize with people attending, let's begin. So Hannah, can you talk to us about peer-to-peer recruiting for new Sea Scouts?
Yeah, so for peer-to-peer recruiting, one of the biggest ways to recruit kids to Sea Scouting nowadays is social media. That has a huge impact. I encourage every ship to have a social media account, whether it's Instagram, Facebook. Every ship should have one. That's a great first way to start getting your friends and everyone to know about what Sea Scouts is really about. The second thing is, there's things like Club Rush at my school, where you make a poster board for your school and you get to, I've done Club Rushes before, and I've had 20 to 30 people sign up to come down to sailing, and it's a really great way to really endorse the program. The third thing is to really be willing to talk about Sea Scouts. Whether it's at school, with your friends, you always want to be talking about Sea Scouts and how great the program is. When I'm at school, I'm always sharing with my teachers, with my classmates, all about sailing. And it's just such a great, fun, and social program. You really want to get that fun and social aspect of Sea Scouts out there, because kids want to be a part of a program that's fun and social, and that's one of the biggest ways to get kids to join Sea Scouts, in my opinion. So also, each ship member should make a goal to recruit one new member per session. So that way we can really help grow Sea Scouts. My goal for this next year is to grow Sea Scouts by 20%. And so I think if each ship member makes a goal to recruit one new member, that will grow Sea Scouts exponentially. So, thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Now, one of the questions that people frequently ask is, when is a good time to bring a friend down to a ship? And for anyone who's wondering that, the answer is all the time. And Hannah, why is that important?
It is important to always be recruiting, because you should never leave somebody at the dock or just because they haven't joined at a certain time. Sea Scouts is all about including people and making friends. And so the answer to that question is you should never say no to having a new seaman coming into your ship. It should be all the time, always invite new friends. Yeah, thank you.
Well, let's pivot to communications. And one of the important issues that we have is how do we get the word out? Because if we plan an open house, the big issue is what comes next. And Donna, can you share some best practices for our viewers on how to prepare a press release?
Yes, it's really interesting. A lot of people are kind of afraid to write press releases because they think, oh my gosh, the news media is big and scary and they're not going to want to publish my information. Well, I have to tell you that as local newspapers have the reporters have kind of dried up, what's happened is that people are relying more and more on the press releases and information that is submitted to them. So the best way to get your information picked up by a newspaper or other kind of news outlet is to really cover the basics. The who, where, what, when, why, and how is really how you should be writing your press release. So the who is your ship number and name. The what is it that you're trying to describe? Is it an open house event? Is it a free sale? Is it a demonstration? Is it a merit badge day? What is it? So be really specific. The when, you've got to tell people when and where it's going to be. Also on the where, if there are particulars like special parking information, anything to do with, you're going to have to walk down a steep gangway or something like that, provide those kinds of specifics. And then the last and most important thing, and this is what I spend a lot of time when I'm teaching marketing, is the why. And that's really having to do with your elevator speech. The elevator speech is defined as that you would say that would take you from, let's say you walk into an elevator and somebody says, hey, tell me about Sea Scouts. And you went from the first to the third floor. You would be able to describe what Sea Scouts is in that period of time and make it memorable enough that someone would say, hey, I just heard about the Sea Scout thing. It is blah, blah, blah. And they would basically parrot back your elevator speech. So if I wanted to make a sample elevator speech about Sea Scouts, it would be, Sea Scouts is a fun on-the-water co-ed program for youth 14 to 20 with opportunities for advancement and leadership. We boat, paddle, kayak, canoe, swim, scuba, and more. If it involves water, Sea Scouts own it. Okay, short, sweet, to the point. And the last thing is on a press release, have a contact person with a mobile phone and an email. The last thing I want to say about press releases is to go and do a quick follow-up with the newspaper. You should be submitting 1 to 2 weeks in advance. And follow up, feel free to follow up. So Josh, let's go to the next slide. As I said, newspapers are really, really hungry for content. There are lots and lots of publications that will print your press release verbatim. So make sure you get it to the local editor 2 to 3 weeks before your recruitment event, because what a newspaper editor is doing is they're figuring out what are we going to put in the upcoming newspaper if they end up, pardon me, I had a call coming in. If they end up mocking up their newspaper and let's say it's a once a week publication, they're thinking 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So get your news release in early. If you can, include a caption with a photo because, as Josh will tell you and anyone else in communications will tell you, if you see and say, so you say what's going on and you show what it looks like, you're going to have better reader retention, all right? Make sure you include a caption for the photo. They want to know who took the photo, what the content is in there, so include your Sea Scout ship number, the name of the youth, and what they're doing. Of course, you need to make sure that you have a photo release from the person who you shot the picture of. And then finally, pick up the phone and call the news desk and just say, hey, I'm following up to see if you had any questions about our open house recruitment event that I just sent you a news release a couple days ago. Can I give you any additional information? If you're a reader of the publications, put this in. Say, I think your readers would be very interested in this event because it's for the youth of the community. The other interesting thing is that when you can make a connection with a newspaper reporter, you can often end up becoming that person that they call when they're looking for a quote. So placing a news release is actually very, very easy to do. So I encourage you to do it and become a friend to your local newspaper. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. Now, Jordan, could you share with us some best practices on open house activities, whether you're doing an activity on the water or indoors, and we would love to hear your thoughts on that.
I'd be more than happy to share. Open houses, indoor and on the water, are very important because both allow first impressions of sea scouting. So we just have to keep this in mind when we're talking to our audience, because they want to learn about our program and they want to learn about us and they want to know what makes us fun. What's beneficial about on the water open houses is that it's hands-on fun and it throws them directly into what our program is about and what we have to offer. The activities on the water may vary depending on what resources you have available and what your primary vessel uses. So you can have kayaking, rowing, paddleboarding, you can have swimming, you could even have a barbecue which can draw people in. You can take people out on a 30-foot sailboat and go whale watching. Just anything that you think will give these families and these prospective youth a good time, and anything that you feel portrays your ship very well. And remember that as they become more involved in the event, they want to know about safety. So you want to be able to tell them about these safety things and how we handle them. And if they have any questions, you want to be able to answer them. This will help the community get to know you better, because then they'll know where you are, they know what you do, they know the scouts who are there. And if you don't have a good turnout, the worst case scenario is that you had a fun day on the water with your crew. So there's really no downside in planning an open house, because either way, you're going to get new scouts for the future or immediately, or you're going to have an awesome day on the water with your crew. So don't be discouraged either way and go plan an open house. Can you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. Sometimes we don't always have the opportunity to be on the water when we have open houses. So we can actually find benefits in indoor open houses as well. This actually allows more time to discuss sea scouting in more depth and to answer more questions, because then we aren't worried about getting on the water in time. This allows more opportunities for parents to think and let things settle before we just throw them out on the water. So you could even combine an indoor open house and an on-the-water open house if that's something that your community or your ship would be interested in. The other thing to keep in mind is we don't only offer on-the-water activities. We have other events. We have knots, navigation, drill. You can always show them pictures and engaging videos that they would love to see. And then they see you having fun in those videos and those pictures. They're going to want to have fun in those videos and pictures as well. And I feel like that perfectly shows what we want to give our community and give the youth in our program. You can also give a tour of your vessel. You can show them like, hey, this is where the women will sleep. This is how we take care of YPT. This is where we go on this vessel. This is where we have gone. We actually have an upcoming trip. You can tell them about these things, and you can tell them that we're always doing things and we always have things to look forward to. And this will help be more engaging with the youth. And this is very easy to accomplish even if you can't get them in a kayak on the water. You could even play games with the prospective youth. Is there something fun that your ship does that you'd like to share with others? Is there something that you want to show them that perfectly shows who you are and who your ship is? It's important to show who you are so that they'll want to be with you and they'll want to join your crew. So just make it fun, engaging, be spontaneous and exciting, have the energy up, be really friendly, because that's what we're really looking for. We want to show them what sea scouting is. Can we go to the thank you? So on seascout.org, we actually have a marketing toolbox, and here we have many flyers for open houses, such as one that you see on the screen right now. It downloads as a PDF, and you can fill in the date, time, location, and the contact information. And there are multiple pictures to choose from, so you can get virtually anything that you want. We have small boat sailing, we have sailing adventures, we have paddleboarding and kayaking. We even have pictures of people doing navigation. And this can be extremely beneficial based on what your target audience is for that open house. This is the marketing toolbox. There's actually more options. What you see here, you can scroll down and you can see all kinds of resources for open houses and other types of marketing you might be using. So be sure to visit this. It's on cscout.org. You go to the top, it has resources, and under resources, we have the marketing toolbox. And finally, a common theme among this is you want to engage the parents. Parents want to know that they can trust you with their youth, and that their youth can have fun, and that they'll be safe. If you want to take somebody's child out for 2 days on the water for a weekend cruise, then their parents have to know that you're someone they can trust. So you can assign a parent, mate, or committee member to be a growth coach, to meet with the parents and talk about the values of Sea Scouting and how we handle these situations. Highlight the leadership opportunities, the overview of the program, and what helps the ship needs to be successful. And keep in mind that we're always looking for parents to do more to help out with our program. You can say, we need an adult for this. We need people for YPT purposes. We need an advancement chair. And I can guarantee that if you help the parents be engaged and you make them feel like they can be helpful, they'll want to join you, they'll want to help you, and they'll want their children there as well, because we have so much to offer as much as fun and leadership and values go. And that's something really valuable that we can share. So we really have to sell it out to them.
Jordan, let's also ask Donna for her take on this, being a parent. And Donna, what are your thoughts of some topics parents want to hear about on how to be engaged?
Yeah, parents are interested in knowing, especially when kids are in high school, how the kids are going to be supervised. And they're also definitely looking for healthy alternatives for their high school students, away from, let's say, the pressure cooker of academics or athletics. And Sea Scouts can really fit that bill. But the other thing that parents really want to know is, well, if I put my kid into Sea Scouts and I'm putting time and resources into this, how is it going to, let's say, help on a college application? And Sea Scouts can do a lot. I mean, between the advancement opportunities and the leadership opportunities, those are things that Sea Scout, that parents of prospective Sea Scouts really want to hear. Parents will support the idea of putting their kids into Sea Scouts once they understand the program and once they know that their kids are engaged, because as Hannah was saying, the kids want to be in a program that's going to be fun and social, and the parents, while they want that too, they're also looking for something a little bit more, and Sea Scouts can definitely fulfill that. Thanks.
Let's talk about council promotion, because our councils are wonderful resources with volunteers and professionals who can help us. And let's, Jordan, would you share some insight on this, please?
Yes, I will. We always want to strengthen our relationship with the other branches of the BSA, and this is very important and ties straight into council promotion. Here, if you have a good relationship with your council, you can promote Sea Scout open houses in council and district newsletters. This can help you pass around word about Sea Scouts at the round tables and at special meetings, and you can receive Sea Scout ship drop lists to identify scouts who are dropping out of other branches of the BSA, and perhaps Sea Scouts can be their next Sea Scouting adventure. I know personally I've seen that with many Eagle Scouts where they finished Eagle and Boy Scouts and they don't feel like there's anything else for them to do there. Then they find Sea Scouts and they stay fulfilled until their 21st birthday and even beyond that. So we have many things to offer to people who are already part of BSA. So that's actually really valuable, and that's something that we should target. We also need to plan annual activities to catch youth at an early age, such as rain gutter events, which is a Cub Scout event. If we host this and they see us and they see what we can do, they'll look up to us and they'll look forward to becoming one of us someday when they're old enough. I waited years to join Sea Scouts, and I have no doubt that others would gladly wait years as well. You can also plan nautical merit badge days because we have so many maritime merit badges. We have small boat sailing, we have kayaking, we have rowboating, we have motorboating. You could take advantage of all of these merit badges, have your scouts become merit badge counselors or your adults become merit badge counselors, and you can teach these. And this will show them that, hey, being on the water is fun. And if I want to continue beyond this merit badge, maybe Sea Scouting is something that I actually would want to look into. And next is community promotion. What you can do is a youth can make a presentation at a local city council on Sea Scouts and why it is a great youth program. The best person to sell Sea Scouting are the people in the program, so it should ideally be a youth. Keep in mind this is also a requirement and you can get it signed off, and if that's how you engage your youth to do it, then you have to remind them that it's part of their ABLE requirements. And you can even ask to hang a banner within the city. As people drive by, they will see the Sea Scout banner and they'll start looking it up to ask more questions. You could even make youth presentations at local services and clubs like the Lions, the Elks, the Rotaries, and even women's organizations, because we want to really highlight that we're a co-ed program. We're high adventure, but we're high adventure for men and for women. And this can be extremely engaging to people of all genders and identities. So it's very important that we make this very clear to our community, and it can actually help the community become fond of us, become more familiar with us, and therefore be more open with us so that we can be more open with them. You can even speak to managers of local stores. It can be anything. I've seen it on Starbucks. I even saw one at a college. You can ask to post open house flyers on their windows or just information about when you meet and a brief description of what you do. It's a great way to draw people in because so many people want an activity that fulfills what they want. And Sea Scouting has so much more to offer than other programs out there. So you can post these at community centers and especially city aquatic facilities, because those people are already interested in on-the-water activities. So if you can tailor to what they're already interested in, then you already have a huge advantage for your retention rates. And remember to take the flyers down after the event. You don't want it to be misleading, you don't want to litter, you want to stay clean, and a scout leaves no trace behind.
Thank you, Jordan. So let's talk about social media usage, because there are many forms of social media that are available for use, and different social media can be used for different audiences. So Facebook is one of the most popular social media applications for adults. We have helped start ships using Facebook ads targeted to mothers. And the way that you do this is you create a Facebook fan page for your ship or your new unit, whatever the situation is. The council could do this if they're set up for it. And it's very easy to use Facebook to build these ads. So figure out the demographics that you want to focus on. It can be your geographic area. Maybe you want just within 10 miles of your geographic area. Maybe you want 20. It all depends on your service area where you want to draw from. You then figure out what interests do we want to focus on. Boating, yachting, sailing, and then you put in things like high school students, parents. Leverage all of the options Facebook has and target your ads to the parents, because the moms are the ones in charge. I've seen at multiple open house activities, it's the moms that are responding to the ads. It's the moms that are getting their youth down to those open house activities, and Facebook can be targeted for those parents. Now, the most popular social media app, at least according to 2 months ago for teenagers, is YouTube. For YouTube, You can do similar types of ads, but you do them as video and have the youth do them and make sure they're under a minute long so they're easy to share. You can then do the same sort of ad campaign on Instagram, and we can get into more of that with creating a business account on Instagram, which is just a couple clicks after starting your Instagram profile, and it has the same type of targeting metrics that you can do. Leverage hashtags so that way others can find information on sailing or kayaking, whatever the theme of your open house is. And the other one is ask your parents for help. Nextdoor is extremely popular in many parts of the country. It always varies what works in different parts of the country, but Nextdoor has been very successful in a lot of the country. It's focused to the neighborhood that you live in. Ask your parents to post open house activities to Nextdoor. Now, the images that you would use on Nextdoor would be a little different than you would for Facebook. On a Facebook boosted ad, you have to have less text. So it could be one strong image that could say, let's go sailing. Something very simple and basic to comply with Facebook's terms of service. Nextdoor doesn't have that. And if people are just looking at the pictures on Nextdoor, you can include the relevant information that this is for high school students, if you're focused on that demographic. And to go kayaking on a specific day and the window to go do that, and the address and all that basic information. And if you set up an email address, have that there as well. On the right side of the slide, we have sample text that parents could use and modify, that when they post the picture, they could also post that. They could also create an event within Nextdoor as well and list everything there. So there are multiple ways to use these applications to connect with people in your community, whether you're targeting the parents or you're targeting the youth. Both have options. You could even spin this and do it as a campaign to recruit adult volunteers. That has been done before as well. So again, multiple ways to connect with the community. Now, Hannah, why don't you talk to us about school access? Because across the country, via federal law, and you can look it up from 2006, there has to be access for scouting groups on posting flyers. Some make this super user-friendly. Others, you have to find the information. But Hannah, can you talk to us about how this works?
Yeah, so learning the school's district policies and procedures for submitting flyers to school. So the first thing is you're going to be wanting to get your information about your Sea Scout ships into schools. Now, the first way that you can approach this is by going to the office or district website to get the rules on the flyer. So that is my biggest piece of advice was, as for me, I would go to the actual school site and I always ask that I clarify the rules with them. Next slide, please. So this is an example of Seattle's form, and because some school districts have different forms to use for their flyer approval. So this is an example. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Now, as a follow-up to this, we do have all the flyers that Jordan has talked about. Some school districts require flyers to be submitted in multiple languages, perhaps Spanish. We ran into this with doing one in Lake Tahoe, and we had an adult help translate, and we do have these available as well, and we'll look at doing others if there's a demand for them. But it's these little steps to take when asking a school what information they need, and we've tried to make the flyers that we have available comply with the basic requirements we've seen from every school district, from Seattle to Phoenix, with the commonalities between all of them. It can vary, so because there are multiple school districts across every state, so learn the standards in your community and reach out to them on what you need to submit flyers to schools. Now, let's talk about other school ideas. And Hannah, can you share your thoughts of what else we can do in schools to connect with potential new Sea Scouts.
Yeah, so other school ideas, so starting a club at a local high school. Membership in the ship is encouraged but not required. So it usually requires a service project and a meetings once a month. Ship youth can be the school officers for your club. Sorry. Yeah, like I said before, Club Rush usually happens, like at my school, it happens in both the fall and the spring. That is a really great way to get recruitment going. Always ask your administration if you can bring something like a boat or maybe a knot board or kayak or something like that. We have an adult that always brings down a laser to the school, and we pass out flyers, and a bunch of kids always come up and are like, wow, this is an awesome thing. This is a boat. So it's really interesting. It really attracts people. Always have open house flyers available during Club Rush. And make sure that you're checking with the office to make sure that your flyers are approved by the school.
And for the adults, schools do have requirements on adults checking in and registering in order to go on campus. So learn those rules as well. Now let's talk about Nautical Merit Badge Days. And Donna, you've helped organize a few of these in the past. Can you share some tips on how others can be successful?
Yeah, so a Nautical Merit Badge Day is like what is typically done for regular Boy Scouts, but the main difference is that you're showcasing your ship to Boy Scouts, especially the older youth, with the equipment and facilities that you have for your ship. In our council, our council posts merit badge days, and they actually push this out to all of the Scout troops. So you can end up getting quite a number of people who end up saying, yes, I want to come to this merit badge day. And especially if you're doing some, I'd say, offbeat merit badges, things that are typically only offered at camp, such as motorboating or small boat sailing, canoeing, kayaking, those kinds of things. You can end up getting a lot of people who say, hey, I want to do that because I don't have the opportunity to get into those kinds of merit badge. What you should do is look at the equipment that you have. If you have sailboats, try and do a small boat sailing. If you have kayaks or canoes, go ahead and do something like that. The other thing is match your adults that are in your ship, your volunteers, with some of their skills. So for example, in a couple slides, we'll show some of the different merit badges, but if let's say your ship does fiberglass work, do composite materials, things like that. So if you have electronics on your boats, go ahead and do electronics. There's a lot of resources that are available with things like merit badge worksheets that will give you every single one of the requirements that you have to do. So you don't have to go out and buy all of these different merit badge books. Next slide, please. Okay, so then the next thing that you have to do is once you've said, yes, I'm going to go ahead and do this merit badge day, then you've got to ask these adults to sign up as the counselors. Typically, at least in our council, they have to be trained and they have to be certified as counselors. And that's because a merit badge counselor is actually signing off on a blue card saying this scout actually did the work and is qualified to receive a merit badge, which is extremely important for some of the merit badges like Silver Ringers, which are for Eagle Scout merit, for you to get your Eagle Scout rank. So it's really important to have a volunteer with a certain level of expertise be the merit badge counselor. Decide on the merit badges that you want to offer. You need to limit the size of your classes. Having 30 people in a class is not the way to do a merit badge day. You want to be able to have the instructor give some individualized attention to the different students in the class. Some groups end up dividing the proceeds according to the hours worked. So that what you're doing is you're encouraging scouts and the counselors to end up, let's say, putting the proceeds towards things like camp. We used to do that when we did our merit badge days. Next slide, please. So some of the possible merit badges that are apropos to Sea Scouts, I mean, you can see canoeing, composite materials I talked about, electricity and electronics, depending upon if you're on a lake or a stream or a river, fishing, even fly fishing could be there. Oceanography works. Oceanography, I will also tell you, does not have to be done on the coast. That merit badge day is apropos to really any body of water. Things like weather. Now, the bolded ones, swimming and life-saving, those are more difficult merit badge days because they're Eagle required. So they actually have, they're what's called a silver ringer. So those have some additional requirements. So you need to make sure that those are being carefully taught. Pioneering, that has a lot to do with structures that are built and lashing and things like that. Astronomy for celestial navigation. I mean, just basically take a look at the merit badges that are available and then start matching the merit badges with the skills and interests of the adults within your ship. Next slide. Find out if your council has prerequisites. I just pulled something from the Orange County Council. Take a look at, where is it here? Electronics and electricity. You can see there, those were 2 merit badges that we looked at. People have to come to electricity with 3 prerequisites, but for electronics, none. Okay, so find out from your council. But what we'll do after this is I will have this prerequisite list available for posting to go out, so that if your council hasn't done this, you can basically take this and it'll be easier for you to do a merit badge day. Next slide. Here's a sample for oceanography. I pulled this screenshot actually from the listing of the merit badge worksheets. And you basically come with the prereqs of 7 and 8, which is do one of the following, like make a plankton net, or in number 8, come with an essay. And so your students actually show up to the merit badge day having already done those. They said, I want to do oceanography. This is not offered. My troop doesn't have this. And maybe in the group of adults that they typically work with, nobody has oceanography. Well, guess what? Your ship could end up being the group that has this merit badge. And it could be a great way to showcase your ship. Next slide. So my tips for a successful merit badge day is really start small and build with success. I saw a proposal which basically said do a 2-day merit badge with camping and ships and this. I'm like, no way. You would start small and work with the merit badges that you know that you can do very successfully. If you're starting, consider only doing 1 Silver Ringer Eagle Merit Badge Day, because those are more difficult. If you do end up doing 2, don't allow a scout to sign up for more than 1 per day. Only do merit badges that you can complete and get signed off on the blue cards, assuming that the prerequisites have been done in about a 3-hour period. Make sure you serve lunch. Pizza is great. And then I always like to do an adult boot camp. In Jordan's section where she talked about making sure in your open house that you present information about Sea Scouts, because what ends up happening at a lot of merit badge days is that the parents show up and they drop their kids and they run. Well, what you need to do is have coffee and donuts and basically have someone there that says, this is what's happening with Sea Scouts. It's the natural follow-on to Scouts. Why be a part of the organization, the advancement and the leadership opportunities? Do a 1-hour boot camp and really get the adults excited about all about Sea Scout. So they say, yes, this is an amazing organization that I want my kid to be involved with. Okay, so my last slide on merit badges is to publicize them. I strongly suggest that you get a Gmail account specifically for your merit badge day, because you're going to want to do this year after year. Get a coordinator. I was always the administrator or registrar, and I had another coordinator that worked with the different instructors and worked with them to basically get certified and put together the list of the list of merit badges. You may be able to get a list of troops in your council and email a flyer, or go to the local roundtables and see if you can get the information out there. There's a really strong organization in most councils that supports Boy Scouts, and so you may need to tap into that in order to get the word out. See if your council will post your registration flyer. Keep an email list of your past participants. Get yourself a MailChimp account and keep those participants in there. If they've signed up with you in the past, remarket to them the next year. And then I always like to ask people to pass along information. So when someone registers for your email and you send them a confirmation, ask that parent to forward the flyer to someone else who might be interested. And then basically what happens is that you start to get kind of a viral vibe going for your merit badge day, and more people will sign up. I strongly recommend merit badge days. They're a lot of work to put on, but they're incredibly satisfying. Your ship can make some money on it, which can fund some things that you want to do. And the most important thing is that an aquatics merit badge day is a great way to showcase your ship in action and let people meet the adults that they will encounter in the everyday operations of the ship. Thanks.
Thank you, Donna. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Tom. And while he's getting ready to present, he's going to talk about their Scout Me In sale days that they've done very successfully in Texas. Tom, take it away.
So yeah, we've had some success with Scout Me In sale days here in Georgetown, Texas. They're a lot of fun. We've, of course, like the theme we heard earlier from Jordan and others, that it's on the water activity. It's in our case, it's a lot of sailing and some kayaking and power boating, and it's we've done it in such a way that it's has like a flexible arrival time. So we set up like 10 to 5 o'clock, something like that, and then folks can come and go as they want to. And that's that having that flexibility lets the parents, if they have something that morning or that evening or that afternoon, they can still make the event and still come. The other part of this is this, as you see here, this pavilion that we've set up. It's similar to what was said earlier, it's a chance to talk to the parents. So it's our check-in. We say, hey, stop by our pavilion, make sure you sign in. Let's get all the paperwork done, and let's talk about Sea Scouts and why it's good for your kids. We viewed that this is a valuable part. And obviously you can see we've made with the flags a kind of a showcase, and more stands out amongst the 20 or something pavilions out on Lake Georgetown. So the other thing with talking to parents is it assures the safety that we can assure them that we follow the safe practices, but also we explain why Sea Scouting is good for their kids. Next slide, please. So here you can see in the upper right, we actually have a scout taking a recruit out on the water. In our orange ship shirts is our ship member. And this, again, it's a lot of fun. That gives them a chance to get out on the water, experience how much fun it is to learn how to sail, and actually has a peer-to-peer relationship than as opposed to an adult taking them out to sail. They can connect better, and it really makes it a lot of fun for the recruits. And also this event is very much focused as a recruiting event. It's advertised as a recruiting event. And so when people come, they very much know what they're doing and what it's about. And we've actually had a lot of success with that. It's on its own, it would be successful, but I think together with some of the other things that have been discussed, merit badge events, attending camporees, kind of making our ship present and visible in the community, in the greater scouting community, and with schools, the Scout Me In Sail Days is helps to close the deal with some of the scouts that might be still on the fence thinking about it. And when they get out on the water and they have some fun on the water, and they come back and they have lunch and some food and social time with their peers, that we just see a higher success rate with having those recruits join the ship. Next slide, please. So in this case, I put in an example flyer and of what we've done this past year, and it has a lot of the elements that were talked about earlier. We do also post it to our district website and get the word out to all the scouting units and troops in the district. We also email troops and get the word out that way. And with local schools, we try to again get the word through into the schools and the groups there. We also at the event itself, we mentioned at the pavilion, we capture contact information, name, email, phone, and make sure that we follow up with them and make sure they understand when's the next event, when's what's the next meeting, how can they get involved. If they haven't signed in, if they haven't filled out an application, then we encourage them to come to the next meeting and do so. So we've had a lot of fun with this, and it's we plan to do more.
Thank you, Tom. So everyone, we thank you for your time this evening, and we encourage all of you to get on the water, have open house activities, and we do have some questions that we'll need to answer, and I'm going to turn it over to National Commodore-elect T.W. Cook.
Thanks, Josh. There are just a couple that are probably worth sharing with the group. We had one about, what would you suggest to an experienced scouter about how to start a new ship? What type of open house? What's the most successful way forward to market a brand new ship? Anyone want to take that?
There's a lot there. So we have actually some material on how to plan open houses, and we'll include a link for that in the follow-up email you get in 2 days. But Jordan or Hannah, can you share some insight? And Jordan, why don't you go first?
Unmute.
You might be muted still.
I've got it. All right. So just to clarify, we're asking how to encourage existing scouts to start up a new unit.
So the question is marketing a new ship. So if you're going to run an open house for a brand new ship, so it's not a ship yet, how would you get started?
How would you get started? Personally, I've never been, let me think about this question.
I'll do an assist while Jordan's thinking of a couple things. We've started multiple new units across the Western region with doing a strategy of trying to recruit adults first. So this could turn into a 4-month project of month 1 is having a date for prospective volunteers to come in. So we've either secured a charter partner already, and we communicate out a date for an informational meeting that goes out through the district newsletter or the council newsletter. Commissioners help promote it internally. Boosted Facebook ads targeted to adults who are interested in volunteering, posting to Nextdoor as well, press releases to online publications, whether it's something like The Patch, which can be a community newsletter that's based on your neighborhood, kind of like Nextdoor, but different. And communicating out to every publication that accepts press releases, looking for adult volunteers. Do the meeting with the adult volunteers and go over the goals for the ship. And that could be done either with the charter partner or it could be done at the council office. You get paperwork submitted for the adults so the background checks can happen. And a month after that meeting, you can have an open house activity. You know, time it so weather's good and do the best practices for an open house. Now, if you live in an area where you could have Sea Scouts from other ships come in and support it, you can do some collaborative recruiting. So like when we did one in Monterey, you know, shipped 2 ships from San Francisco came down. You know, that's a 3-hour drive each way, and they came down and they helped with the kayaking and scuba open house that we did, and they were really, really good. Now, if you live in an area where you don't have any Sea Scouts that are within a several-hour drive, there are other strategies to deploy. But the goal is to get youth on the water, and it's a lot easier to do when youth are the ones who are being our ambassadors to prospective Sea Scouts. And we had to thank you with that. Now, we do have some other questions. TW, do you want to help tee these up for us?
I can. There are a couple of people who have asked about taking guests on water activities. So if you don't know their abilities or limitations, do you need liability insurance or waivers? So how do you deal with guests on the water? Tom, maybe you want to take that. You've been through this a couple of times.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So there is a clause in some of the safety information about bringing recruits out on the water. Of course, we want to typically if the kids that are coming are from scouting units, we ask that they bring some of their documentation around that already, and so they're already covered by BSA because of they're in a scouting unit. If they're brand new recruits, there is a clause that brand new recruits can participate.
So with that, we've answered all the questions. And again, in 2 days, you'll get a copy of this presentation. It'll be posted on our Facebook fan page and our YouTube channel. And we'll include other resources that were discussed, such as the merit badge information and other links that can help you with springtime recruiting. So I want to thank all of our panelists, Hannah, Donna, Jordan, Tom, and TW, and appreciate all of you tuning in this evening. Again, thank you for your time, and let's get on the water. Thank you.